Hello everybody and welcome back to our adventure through Botswana and Namibia. You join us as we are leaving Audi camp just outside of Maun. Today we are going to drive up to the Moremi Game Reserve and we'll be entering through the south gate. We only had about 110 kilometers to cover today, but the first part of that would be on tar roads, the first 29 kilometers, and after that it would be gravel and 4x4 track. However, there are so many potholes on the tar road, most of the time we spend driving next to the road.
Potholes op die pad is so groot as ry maar langs die pad.
However, we pushed on and soon we reached the part where the tar road ends and we stopped to deflate our tires. Pretty soon we were done with that and we got back in the cars and back on the road, but this part of the road is especially corrugated and is really bad. We continued on along the road and we passed the foot and mouth disease checkpoint and we continued on until we reached the turnoff that would take us to Southgate. The roads you turn onto when you take the turnoff here is still gravel tracks, and we were soon starting to see the signs of the elephants as there was a tree pushed over in the road, and not long after that we got to the big elephants themselves. On the way to the entrance to the park we did see a bit of other game, including impala and giraffes. We continue pushing on towards the Moremi itself and pretty soon we arrived at the south gate where we could check in to the park itself. We've just arrived here at Southgate, about to enter the Moremi. The road from Maun, tar road and the gravel road, but terrible. The gravel road is very corrugated and the tar road is filled with potholes. But yeah, no, that's Africa. Then yeah, we saw a fair amount of game, a lot of elephants, a lot of giraffes, impala, warthogs and a few other antelope as well on the way here. About to enter Moremi, let's see what it has in store for us. We completed all the formalities at the gate and then we were back in the cars. We were going to drive up from Southgate all the way up to Northgate because we were staying at Khwai campsite just near Northgate, and we were going to use the back road, but it's still the road in the park itself. As we were here in the dry season, the roads were in pretty good condition. Some roads closer to the Delta area was flooded, and we had a taste of this a few years back when we travelled here and had to do a lot of water crossings. After about an hour and a half's driving, we reached Northgate where we proceeded to check in for our campsite itself before making our way to the campsite itself. It had an awesome view over the river. Then it was just the small matter of pitching up camp and settling in for our stay at Khwai. After our camp was pitched up, it was time to get back in the cars and go for a bit of a game drive and see if we couldn't spot some great game. We saw quite a lot of antelope the afternoon on our game drive, as well as a warthog and a few other animals,
And the afternoon, as the sun was starting to set, I made my way out to one of the iconic wood bridges that you drive over. This one is just outside Northgate over the river Khwai. Back at camp, the sun was starting to set, and that of course means that it was time to get the fire going in preparation for tonight's braai. We had an awesome braai and a great time around the fire before it was time to call it a night and head for bed.
Morning everyone. We're at Khwai campsite, nice and early. We're going out for a bit of a game drive, going down to the water, see if we can spot a bit of wildlife. We saw quite a bit yesterday, so hopefully we can see even more today.
We were up nice and early this morning, and we wanted to go out and have a nice game drive in the morning and see if we could spot some great animals. We spent about 2 hours in the cars the morning driving around, and we saw a fairly decent amount of game, mostly antelopes and giraffes. After an enjoyable game drive, it was time to head back to camp, where we made a nice, delicious brunch. We just spent a bit of relaxing time enjoying our brunch and just unwinding at camp. And a bit late in the afternoon, we made our way back over to the bridge and we drove out to the small village of Khwai. And we even got to visit the local village shopping center, as they call it, where you can stock up on a few basic essentials. And a bit further down the road, we even saw a place where we could sit down and have a coffee and a scone. After that nice relaxing time in Khwai, we made our way back over the bridge and back into the park for a game drive the afternoon. This afternoon game drive truly did not disappoint, as we saw a lot of animals and a lot of elephants as well. We spent some more time in the car just driving around and soaking in every last moment we have in this epic park. And the Moremi did not disappoint, as we saw a lot of game. And soon it was time to make our way back to camp.
Right, fire's going. You can see behind me there the fire's going, everyone's sitting around it. We had a great stay at Khwai. It was awesome. The Moremi was awesome. A lot of elephants, a lot of antelope. No cats unfortunately, but it was a great stay. We're gonna have a great braai, and tomorrow morning early on the road back to Ghanzi. See you guys then.
We had an enjoyable time around the fire, but our night was cut short a bit as the hippos in the river next to us were starting to slowly migrate towards our camp, and we decided it best to go to the tents. And later the evening we even had another visitor from a four-footed friend. There was a spotted hyena roaming around in our camp. We had a nice early start to the morning as we had a bit of distance to cover today, and after tents were pitched up, we made our way out of the park the same way we came in. Today we were going to cover over 420 kilometers, with the first almost 80 kilometers of that being gravel roads and 4x4 tracks, and the rest would be on the tar road. We continued pushing on, and soon we were on the tar road again on our way to Maun. Well, if I say on the tar road, sometimes next to the tar road, on our way to Maun. A few kilometers before Maun, we pulled into a coffee shop for a bite to eat.
Right, we are just here outside of Maun. We're going to have a bit of a brunch / lunch before we make our way down to Ghanzi. We were up and early this morning. We had some hyenas and hippos visiting the campsite last night. All fun and games and all nice adventures. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a brunch and then make our way down to Ghanzi. See you guys later. After some delicious food, it was time to get back into the cars and make our way down to Ghanzi. Tonight we will be sleeping in Palm Afrique Lodge. It's the same lodge we stayed overnight when we made our way up to the Central Kalahari. We just had a quick stop in Maun to fill the cars up with diesel and to inflate our tires again before chewing up the kilometers of tar roads down to Ghanzi, where we once again just stopped to fill up the cars before we made our way out towards the lodge. On the sand road that leads you towards the lodge, we actually came across a guy that thought he was stuck, but he just needed a little nudge and he was on his way again. Eventually we reached the lodge and proceeded to check in and make our way towards the campsite, where we dealt with the small matter of pitching up camp. Two-night stop will just serve as an overnight stop, as we are now in the last leg of our journey. After camp was pitched up, we decided that we'll treat ourselves tonight, and we had the buffet dinner at the lodge itself. After early morning start, got the campsite pitched up and we're on our way to Kgalagadi Game Lodge. We had a very early start to the morning, as we were going to cover a lot of kilometers on the road today. We hit the road early this morning, as we were going to cover about 870 kilometers today, and we were also going to cross the border back into Namibia. We were driving from Ghanzi all the way down to Kalahari Game Lodge in the southern parts of Namibia. After witnessing a spectacular sunrise on the road the morning, we reached the border between Namibia and Botswana. After crossing the border, we just drove into Khwai to just fill up the cars with diesel again before pointing the cars nose south and driving down to Aranos. The first part of the road is a tar road, but later it turned to a gravel road. But it is a decent gravel road, and we made good progress throughout the day. We continued on our way towards Kalahari Game Lodge, and it wasn't too long before we reached the gate of the lodge. From there we proceeded to the reception area, where we checked in for our stay. We were just going to stay the one night here. It was just an overnight stop, as we would be entering the Kgalagadi Transfrontier park the next day. After we finished with all the checking in formalities, we made our way
down to the campsites themselves.
We've arrived here at Kalahari Game Lodge. It's been a long day's driving. Yeah, it was slow going today, but camp's all pitched up. Gonna get the fire started, gonna get the food started, and have a nice chilled night tonight. Hopefully have a good sleep.
We got the fire going, had a great time sitting around it before calling it a night and heading to bed. We woke up to a beautiful Namibian sunrise and we started to slowly break down camp. And after the camp was all packed up and all the trailers were hitched again, we made our way back to the reception area of the lodge.
We had a nice relaxing start to the morning. There's a beautiful sunrise happening behind me. Namibia always has some glorious sunrises. We are going to have a bit of breakfast at the lodge. We're going to decide to treat ourselves, and from there we'll make our way to Mata border post. We'll cross into the Kgalagadi Transfrontier park and make our way down to Twee Revieren campsite. We'll stay there for 2 more nights before beginning the journey back down to Cape Town. So yeah, last bit of the holiday. Let's enjoy it.
After a delicious breakfast, we were back in the cars and back on the road, making our way to Mata. The lodge itself is just 20 kilometers away from the Mata gate, and soon we arrived at the gate where we could check in to the Kgalagadi Transfrontier park. We still had another 116 kilometers to cover from Mata down to Twee Revieren, where we will be spending 2 nights. After checking in, it was back in the cars and back on the road, making our way down to Twee Revieren. And on our drive, we also did spot a good amount of wildlife in the park. We saw a lot of antelope on our drive, including gemsbok, springbok, wildebeest and hartebeeste, and then as we neared Twee Revieren, we saw our first lion of the trip. We couldn't believe our luck. These 4 lionesses were literally just lounging around right next to the road. After that incredible sighting, we pushed on further, and it wasn't too long before we reached the gate at Twee Revieren itself and we could make our way towards our campsite. If you want to see our full campsite review video of Twee Revieren, you can find a link in the description below, or you can click in the top right hand corner.
We've arrived here at Twee Revieren. We are going to stay here for 2 nights. We saw some great game driving down from Mata. A lot of antelope, a few giraffes and 4 lionesses lounging next to the road, so that was spectacular to see. We at the restaurant area. Springboks are playing now, so we'll quickly watch the game and then probably braai when we get back to camp.
The Springboks were playing today, so I quickly watched the game before making my way back to camp, where I joined the others for a great braai. We had an easy start to the day as we didn't really have any plans for today, and everyone just ended up chilling at the camp.
We had a nice relaxing day at camp today. I think everyone just enjoyed a bit of a rest day. Decided to take a night drive out tonight with one of the night drive with game drive cars. So we're almost on our way to that, and hopefully we'll see some good game on the night drive.
We made our way up to the office area where we met up with the game drive vehicle. We spent about 2 hours on the game drive vehicle, and we did see a bit of game, but once again mostly antelope, and we also saw a very nice owl sighting. But it was also great to experience the sunset in the park and also drive around in the dark, as this isn't something you would be able to do on your own in the park. We also got to see a few foxes and a few porcupines on our game drive. One member of our team did not go on a game drive, he went on his own drive, and he actually saw a leopard, but he didn't have any of the cameras and just had a cell phone to take a picture. And back at camp, we spent some great time around the fire before calling it a night and heading for bed. We had another early start to the day. We broke down camp, hitched up the trailers, and then filled the cars up with diesel and inflated our tires before hitting the road. First, we just had to finalize the last few border formalities and get signed in back to South Africa. Today we had about 760 kilometers to cover. We were making our way down to Van Reinsdorp and staying at Lang Verwacht Guest Farm. The whole way will be on tar roads, and we spent the whole day just chewing up kilometers, making our way back down south. We continued on until we reached the turnoff to the farm itself.
We are here at the Lang Verwacht campsite, just outside of Nieuwoudtville. We had a long day's driving today, and we finally arrived, but tomorrow's just a short few kilometers back home to Cape Town. So we're gonna have a last night of the trip, and it truly was a special trip, and we might sit around the fire and reminisce a bit about the trip and what we experienced and all our great experiences of the trip. Yeah, it's been fun. There's a glorious sunset happening behind me. Camp's all pitched up, and we're going to enjoy our last night on the trip before we make our way back to Cape Town tomorrow.
We got the food ready for tonight's braai before experiencing our last sunset of the trip, just taking in every moment. And of course we enjoyed our last braai and just enjoyed some great time sitting next to the fire and chatting and reminiscing about the trip. Today we just had a few hundred kilometers to drive back down to Cape Town and make our way home. Thank you for traveling with us these last few weeks. We truly hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you have some great adventures lined up for yourself. As always, happy camping until next time.